In the dim glow of a candlelit restaurant, Alex stared across the table at Emily, his heart pounding as the truth hung in the air like a storm about to break. "You're not who you say you are," he whispered, his voice cracking with a mix of betrayal and relief. But before she could respond, the world seemed to freeze. Had their web of lies finally unraveled, or was this the beginning of something real? Hold on, because this story is about to take you on an emotional roller coaster you won't forget. Alex Thompson had always been the quiet one in his family, the guy who built a tech empire from his garage while his identical twin brother, Jake, chased the spotlight as a charming salesman. Alex's company had exploded into a multi-million-dollar success, but he kept it hidden, living modestly to avoid the gold diggers and fake friends that fame brought. Jake, on the other hand, was outgoing, always bragging about his adventures, but struggling to make ends meet. So when Jake begged Alex to swap places for a blind date, claiming he was too nervous to meet this girl his friend had set him up with, Alex reluctantly agreed. "Just be me for one night," Jake pleaded. "What's the harm?" Little did Alex know, that one night would expose secrets that could shatter everything. As Alex adjusted his borrowed leather jacket in the mirror, mimicking Jake's cocky grin, he felt a pang of unease. He wasn't used to this. Pretending, flirting, letting loose. But the date was at a cozy Italian bistro downtown, and the woman, Emily, was described as smart, funny, and totally out of your league, bro. Alex arrived early, his palms sweaty, ordering a glass of wine to calm his nerves. When Emily walked in, time slowed. She had warm hazel eyes that sparkled under the soft lights, a smile that lit up the room, and an effortless grace in her simple black dress. "You must be Jake," she said, extending her hand. Alex nodded, swallowing hard. "Yeah, that's me." "And you're Emily?" She laughed, a sound like music. "Guilty as charged." Their conversation flowed like they'd known each other forever. Emily talked about her job as a marketing coordinator at a small firm, her love for hiking in the mountains, and her dream of traveling the world someday. Alex, playing Jake, shared stories of sales trips that were actually his own business ventures, toned down to sound ordinary. He found himself opening up in ways he never did. About feeling lost in a big city, the pressure to succeed, the loneliness that came with it. Emily nodded empathetically, sharing her own struggles with family expectations and a recent breakup that left her wary of love. "I just want someone real," she said softly, her eyes meeting his. Alex felt a spark, something genuine amid the facade. But as the appetizers arrived, he caught her glancing at her phone nervously, and a doubt crept in. Was she hiding something too? By the time the main course came, pasta primavera for her, steak for him, their laughter filled the air. Emily teased him about his adventurous stories, and Alex found himself relaxing, forgetting he was pretending. He even shared a vulnerable moment. "Sometimes I feel like I'm living someone else's life, you know? Like I'm not the person everyone thinks I am." Emily's expression softened, and she reached across the table, touching his hand. "I get that more than you know." The touch sent electricity through him, but just as he leaned in, her phone buzzed again. She excused herself to the restroom, and Alex's curiosity piqued. Glancing at her abandoned purse, wrong, he knew, but the wine had loosened his inhibitions, he spotted a business card peeking out. It read, Emily Harper, CEO, Harper Innovations. CEO? His heart raced. Was she pretending to? But before he could process it, she returned, and the moment passed. Cliffhanger 1. What if she caught him snooping? Would the date end in disaster right there? The night progressed, and they decided to extend the date with a walk through the nearby park. The city lights twinkled like stars, and the cool breeze carried the scent of blooming flowers. Emily opened up about her childhood, growing up in a small town, her parents' divorce that left her feeling like she had to be perfect to hold things together. "I built walls," she admitted, "to protect myself from getting hurt again. Alex, still as Jake, shared his story of always being in the shadow of a more successful sibling, ironic, since it was the opposite for him. But the words felt true, echoing his own insecurities about his wealth isolating him. They stopped by a fountain, the water splashing rhythmically, and Emily turned to him. "This feels different, Jake." "Real." He wanted to confess everything right then, but fear held him back. Instead, he pulled her close for a gentle kiss under the moonlight. It was magic, soft, tentative, building to a passion that surprised them both. As they pulled away, breathless, Emily whispered, "Promise me no secrets?" Alex's stomach twisted. How could he promise that? Days turned into weeks, and what started as a blind date blossomed into something deeper. Alex continued the charade, meeting Emily as Jake while juggling his real life as a millionaire CEO. He'd sneak away from board meetings to text her, fabricating excuses about sales calls. Emily, meanwhile, seemed equally busy, often canceling plans last minute with apologies about work deadlines. But their time together was electric. Picnics in the park where they'd share dreams, late-night drives singing along to old songs, even cooking disasters in her tiny apartment that ended in laughter and takeout. Alex fell hard, drawn to her kindness, her ambition hidden behind a modest facade. She volunteered at animal shelters on weekends, something she downplayed, but he saw the passion in her eyes when she talked about it. "I just want to make a difference," she'd say, and Alex thought, "Me too." Yet cracks began to show. One evening, during a romantic dinner at her place, Alex noticed a stack of mail on the counter. The envelopes were addressed to Emily Harper, Penthouse Suite. Penthouse? She claimed to live in a modest one-bedroom. His mind raced. Was she wealthy too? Pretending to be average like him? He brushed it off, but the doubt festered. Emily, sensing his distraction, asked, "What's wrong? You seem distant." He forced a smile. "Just tired from work." But inside, he was torn. He wanted to come clean, to tell her he was Alex, the secret millionaire, but what if she was after money? Or worse, what if she wasn't who she seemed? Their first big challenge came during a weekend getaway to a cabin in the woods. A surprise, Jake planned, funded by Alex's hidden fortune. The drive was filled with easy banter, but as they hiked a trail, Emily twisted her ankle on a root. Alex panicked, carrying her back to the cabin, his strength from gym sessions, a luxury of his wealth, making it seem effortless. "You're stronger than you look," she teased through the pain. At the cabin, he tended to her, wrapping her ankle with care. It was intimate, vulnerable. Emily sharing stories of her fears, like failing her team at work, and Alex admitting his regrets about not pursuing bigger dreams. That night, as they cuddled by the fire, she said, "I think I'm falling for you, Jake." His heart soared and sank. "Me too," he replied, but the lie weighed heavy. Cliffhanger 2, as they drifted to sleep, a knock echoed at the door. Who could it be in the middle of nowhere, and would it expose everything? The knock turned out to be a neighbor checking on a reported storm warning, but it jolted Alex into reality. He couldn't keep this up. Back in the city, he confided in Jake, who laughed it off. "Just tell her, bro. What's the worst that happens?" But Alex feared rejection. Meanwhile, Emily faced her own turmoil. Unbeknownst to Alex, she was indeed a fraud, not in a malicious way, but out of necessity. Emily Harper was the founder of a startup that had skyrocketed to success, making her a secret millionaire too. But after a bad experience with a gold-digging ex, she pretended to be a simple employee on dates, testing if men liked her for her, not her money. Meeting Jake had been a breath of fresh air. He seemed genuine, hardworking, without the flash. But she sensed something off, like the expensive watch he'd borrowed from a friend, or the way he knew too much about tech investments. The tension built during a double date with friends. Jake insisted on tagging along as Alex, the successful brother, to keep the ruse alive. It was chaotic, Alex as Jake, Jake as Alex, dodging questions about their lives. Emily bonded with Alex, really Jake, over business talk, making the real Alex jealous. "Your brother's impressive," she told him later. "But I like you better, you're real." The irony stung. That night, alone in his mansion, which he claimed was a friend's house when she visited, Alex stared at photos of them together. He realized he loved her, not the pretend version, but the woman who made him feel seen. He decided to confess. But before he could, disaster struck. Emily's company hit a crisis. A competitor leaked confidential info, threatening bankruptcy. She confided in Jake, tears streaming. "I might lose everything. I'm not just a coordinator, I'm the CEO. I've been pretending because I was scared." Alex's world spun. She was like him. He held her, whispering comforts, but didn't reveal his truth yet. Together, they brainstormed solutions, her vulnerability drawing them closer. Alex used his connections anonymously to help, tipping off authorities about the leak. It worked, her company stabilized. In gratitude, Emily planned a special date to thank him. At a rooftop overlooking the city, under a canopy of stars, Emily turned to him. "Jake, there's more. I'm wealthy, really wealthy. I hid it to find someone who loves me for me." Alex's breath caught. This was it. "Emily, I'm not Jake." He explained everything, the switch, his fortune, the fear. Tears welled in her eyes. "You too? We were both frauds?" The betrayal hit hard, they argued, voices rising with hurt. "How could you lie?" she cried. "I thought you were different." Alex pleaded, "I was scared, just like you. But this, us, it's real." The emotional depth crashed over them like waves, years of isolation, the walls they'd built, crumbling in that moment. They parted that night in tears, unsure if they could rebuild. Days of silence followed, each reflecting on their pasts. Alex volunteered at the shelter Emily loved, finding solace in helping others. Emily dove into her work, but missed his presence. The key challenge, trust. Could they forgive the lies and embrace the truth? Alex reached out first, leaving a voicemail. "I love the real you. Let's start over, as Alex and Emily." She called back, voice trembling. "I love you too. No more pretending." Their reunion was tentative but healing. They dated openly, sharing their worlds, his tech empire, her innovations. Challenges arose, like media scrutiny when their stories leaked, but they faced them together, communicating honestly. Relatable in their flaws, they inspired friends and family, showing that vulnerability strengthens bonds. In the end, as they stood on that same rooftop, Alex proposed with a simple ring, not flashy, but meaningful. "To real love," he said. Emily accepted, tears of joy flowing. Their story taught that secrets might protect, but truth sets you free. It's okay to be imperfect, it's the courage to be honest that builds lasting connections. And remember, sometimes the biggest frauds find the truest hearts. If this story touched you, hit that like button and subscribe for more emotional tales that remind us of the power of authenticity. Thanks for watching.